Let's graph some exponential functions. I like to use the asymptote or horizontal asymptote and three ordered pairs. So the first thing we want to do is identify any horizontal asymptotes, and usually these are indicated by the base function. Why don't we change the base here? The base here is 3/5, but this right here says to reciprocate. So let's use an exponent property and rewrite f of x. Could rewrite f of x to be 5/3 raised to the x. This is a little bit easier to read because 5/3 is more than 1. We know that this is actually exponential growth. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm actually going to plot some ordered pairs, x and f of x, right? Or x and y. I usually like three ordered pairs. So if you pick x to be -1, we get 3/5. If you pick x to be 0, we get 1. And if you pick x to be 1, we get 5/3. Now we are ready to graph. So why don't we graph part A? And let's graph part A in red. So let me erase this. I'll go ahead and label part A in red. If you have a straight edge or graph paper, that always comes in handy. So I'm going to graph it over here. Let's graph part A in red. So -1. -1 is right here. 0, 1 is here. -1 and 3/5. So do the best you can. It's a little bit more than half. And 1 is at what? It is at 5/3, so 1 and 2/3. So here's 1. And we need 1 and 2/3. So it's about here. So at least three ordered pairs. Some of you might actually do more than that. If you're not comfortable with three ordered pairs, you could do 2 here, and now you get what? 25/9. And if you put 25/9 here, well, that's about what? Almost 3, right? You know, it's really 2 and 7/9, so almost 3. You could do that. If you wanted to plot more, you certainly can, because it will give you more confidence. So there's another order pair here. I did say we need to graph the horizontal asymptote, and I forgot to mention that. From the base function here, we do get a horizontal asymptote, and that is simply going to be y equals 0. I am going to draw that. It's very important to draw that and label it, because it actually will approach this dotted line, but never cross it. So let's label that. That's y equals 0, and that is our HA, or horizontal asymptote. Let's play connect the dots. Approaches the horizontal asymptote, and this is an exponential growth from left to right. This is actually growing because 5/3 is more than 1. Now, how do we do part B? Let's do part B in green. Well, part B is very, very similar. Once again, we're going to rewrite g of x. The thing you got to keep remind yourself in part B is there is a negative sign right there. So it looks like part A, but with a negative sign in front. So this negative sign is really emphasizing the opposite y values. So we're going to use the graph in part A to graph part B. So if you take the opposite y values, now we're going to mirror this, and we're going to see that we have a dot here, we have another dot here, and we have another dot where? About right here, and we have another dot, let's see here, that was 2 and 7/9. So negative 2 and 7/9, maybe about here. Now we should label these. So in part B, we're going to go ahead and label those 4 ordered pairs. Now how do we do that? How did I do that so fast? X, g of x. Well, the x values are the same, but now we have the opposite y values. So we're just taking this table here. The x values remain the same, and then we just put the opposite y values here. So negative 1, or the opposite of 1, opposite of 5/3, and then the opposite of what? 25/9. Squeezing that in there. Let's play connect the dots. Oh, forgot to mention again. Once again, even from here, we could see our horizontal asymptote is y equals 0. That's very important. Our ordered pairs are labeled, and now we can play connect the dots. Play connect the dots here. Ooh. And there we go. We got both functions. So in part A, we have this red function, which is f of x, is equal to 5/3 x. And we have part B, which could be relabeled as g of x is equal to the opposite of what? Of 5/3 x. So what do you really need to show here? Well, you need to show your ordered pairs. So a good way to label them is in a t-chart. You also need to show your horizontal asymptote. So I'm going to circle that as well. So over here, we're going to need to show this. We need to show your ordered pairs. And you need to show your horizontal asymptote. And of course, the last thing is show your graph. Use graph paper. Use a straight edge if you need to. And I'm going to go ahead and circle the graphs because those are our final answers. Okay. So quick recap here. We did these items first by getting ordered pairs. And then second, plot your graph on graph paper. And if you don't have graph paper, you can always draw your own. Just be as accurate as you can.